fans. Welcome to the BlueNote Fan Report. I am Guy, the Hawaii Blues fan, and I'm your host on the only show on the internet that is by a fan. Definitely for the fans, and you gotta know all about you, the fans. You see my co-host Haley here. She's going to be a co-host with me throughout the rest of the season, no matter how the season goes, whether they play it or not, and she may even be with next season. She's a beautiful angel who we lost, and I'm honoring her by putting her up. But just like last show, Haley, this is part 2 of my 5-part breakdown series. Haley, I need to put you on pause and say goodbye, as I welcome not only Justina, but Mike Dante. Justina Borotsky and Mike Dante, welcome to the BlueNote Fan Report. And I screwed it up again, didn't I, Justina? All right, so
let's roll.
Yeah, let's go. So Justina and Mike, welcome to the show.
I'll change my birth certificate just for you. All right, that way we'll be good.
Yeah. Mike, it's great to have you back. Right, it's been a while, but I'm really glad that you're back. I know you're a healthcare worker. I hope everything's safe with you, my friend.
So far, so good. I come across a couple.
Yeah, well, stay safe. So what we're doing today, we started with the Atlantic Division last week. We're going to move on into the Metro Division. We'll talk about, we know that the season's on pause. We're not sure what's going to happen, but we're going to assume the season's going to resume, and we're going to play it out. We're going to look at each team, where they sit, and what could be what they need for the future, or what if for a playoff run. So the first team in the Metro that I want to talk about is a team that is a big surprise to me that they're in this place. The 8th place team is the New Jersey Devils. They are 28, 29, and 17 for 68 points. They are 11 points behind the 7th place team, and they're probably not going to be in the playoffs. They had a really good summer, but it just never worked. What do you think, Justina, about the Devils?
I thought it was a surprise because you got to remember they were in the playoffs 2 years ago. That's when Corey Schneider was doing really well. He had that drop off where he had to go to the AHL and he just lost it mentally. But on paper they should have been at least a first round team because they added Wayne Simmons, they added PK Subban, and they had Tyler Hall. All of that should have been the first round like 2 years ago when they lost to the Lightning. At least, right?
Yeah. Mike?
The Devils, for me, I'm shocked that they are bottom feeders like they are, but I'm not surprised that they're not a playoff team. I think there might be 1 or 2 years away from that. I don't watch. I did watch a couple of the games this year. I watch every team, but I haven't watched very many of their games. They're just getting younger. They got Jack Hughes. That's just going to be a great player for them, and they're just trying to rebuild and get on the uptrend to try to be competitive in years to come. Just rebuild like any normal team would that's not doing well.
Yeah, though you mentioned Jack Hughes. He's kind of, I don't want to call him a bust yet, but he's a definite disappointment. I thought he would be much better coming off, especially with having that defensive pairing, having Simmons there, having Subban there, having Tyler Hall there, and then the Hall issue at the beginning of the season where they eventually traded him, that really just took the wind out of the sails of that team. And that leads me to my next disappointing team, and that's the team in 7th place, the New York Rangers. Now, I say disappointing and only because they're in 7th place, but they're really not that far out of a playoff spot. They've got 79 points, and they're 2 points out of the spot in 7th place, so they're still got a chance. Again, their #1 draft pick, they had a good summer. Kaipo Kakko, he's been kind of a disappointment. Mike, what do you think about the Rangers?
I think the Rangers, they have, I think, a very good chance of making it if we continue here. If they get these games in somehow in the regular season, I think they're going to get in because you got to factor it's not just Kakko. Kakko is just going to get better as a rookie. You got Panarin, you got Zibanejad, who's just ridiculous. I mean, and they seem to have finally solved their woes in net. Lundqvist getting aged up there. They got Georgiev starting to really shine now. I forget the other guy. I think Shesterkin. I think their goalies situation have gotten figured out with those 2 kids, and I think they might have a darn good chance.
Yeah, that's so now when a team's looking for a goalie, I'm going to ask this question to you there, Justina. Do you think that someone would look at Henrik Lundqvist?
Yeah, for a quick playoff run with a veteran for a couple-year window, yeah. Why not?
So we talked a lot about with the Atlantic how a lot of those teams needed a goalie. That could be someone they look at, and he might be able to pick up pretty cheap. Then we move in. See, now the Atlantic Division is full of surprises to me. To a team that I think is my third surprise in the Atlantic Division, and again, not just because of where they're falling out. This division's pretty tight. Is the New York Islanders? They're sitting in the 6th place with 80 points in this division. And again, they've played 68 games, so they got a game or two in hand on some teams. But I thought they would be up there in the top 3. I thought that they really showed some pizzazz last year and that it would carry over. Justina, start with you.
The Islanders? Well, here's the main thing with everything. This is the whole league. Every team is within a couple of points apart from touching each other. Everybody is so dead evenly close. Look at the playoffs. Look at how every year, if you look at each year statistically, there's 8 different teams out of the 16 in every year, from year to year. So it shows you how tight everybody really is. So, I don't know. All you have to do in the playoffs is get hot at the beginning and then make a hot run. Look at how the Islanders swept the Penguins last year. And the Penguins, with their window, they were a favorite. There was all those sweeps last year. So it's so hard to do this because everybody is so close and touching. I think anybody could really have a hot run and do it. I don't know about win the whole thing, but win their conference.
Yeah. I don't know about I don't know about winning the conference, but Mike?
Well, for the Islanders, you want me to comment on? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Islanders, they're a fast team. They're a young team. They swept the Penguins last year, and that, like, I mean, it's just, and honestly, I think I saw that coming last year.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way this team is going to compete with them, and I knew the Islanders were just faster and better. The Penguins are banged up. They got a young, fast team. I mean, they've got a very competitive team, and the parity of the league is very tight, and they can get in just like anyone else can get in.
Yeah. The thing with the Islanders, for me, is that sweep of the Penguins I really thought was going to propel them. And they seemed to lay an egg right after that. They got swept by the Hurricanes, if I remember correctly, in the playoffs. And speaking of the Canes, we move into the team that's in 4th place. Or no, pardon me, I'm skipping one. 5th place, the Blue Jackets. The Columbus Blue Jackets are the 2nd wild card team at 81 points. Again, this is a team that I thought would be vying for a lottery pick. To see them there, does surprise me. So, Mike, I'll let you start off on the Blue Jackets.
The Blue Jackets, it comes down to one thing. I did not expect them to make the playoffs because they did that miraculous sweep of Tampa last year. They didn't come out very well against Boston. I mean, I think they pushed that 6 games, but they still did lose. Yeah. But Tortorella said at the end of the season, or in the offseason, why in God's name would all these players just leave after we had that, upset in the Lightning? A year later, if that team stuck together, I think they would have been very dangerous. And with how much they lost, especially Panarin, I am not shocked or taken back at all by them being where they are.
Yeah. Justina?
Blue Jackets? They shouldn't feel bad, and nobody should feel bad. They weren't, after the losses in the offseason, they weren't expected to be anything, and they're showing right now that they had a great core, and that they were smart, and they knew with, what the hell's his name? Kippersaw, or who was the backup of Bobrovsky last year, who's now the starter? They had a plan in place where they knew if he left, we still have an overall team. Corpuscello, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they got Elvis Merlikins, and he's I know he's a backup, but the game he played against the Blues, I mean, he really showed something. I mean, he looked like he had a good glove, a solid glove, and a feel for the game. So I was really, I'm good on them. The thing with them, there was a poll. They do a players poll every year, and it's anonymous, but it was, what coach do you not want to play for? And you know which coach was number one?
Tortorella.
Tortorella. So the mass exodus has something to do with that. But you know, when you sign there, you know what you're getting into. So if you bitch about it after you sign there, I got a problem with that. You know, Panarin, the bread man, he got traded there. So him leaving is a different story. But Bobrovsky signed there, if I remember. He wasn't traded.
Yeah.
Right.
And here's the thing.
No, he was traded. He was traded. The Flyers got him. He was the Flyers goalie back when they went to the finals in 2010.
Okay.
And the Flyers made that stupid trade, and they got, for Bobrovsky, who was it? Oh, my God.
Steve Mason, wasn't it?
Yeah, Steve Mason, because he was Rookie of the Year in 09. Thank
Yeah.
you. He won the Calder Cup in 09, so they're like, oh, let's get him, and it actually backfired. And that Flyers team, imagine if they had Bobrovsky after that.
Yeah.
So that's what happened to where he ended up there, yeah.
Columbus is just a bigger team now. They're not as skilled with all the losses they took. They're still competing because they're well coached. And that goes without saying. John Tortorella is a phenomenal coach, I'm just saying. Even though he might be hated to play, people might hate to play for him, but I mean, they're just they got bigger and heavier. They had to change their style to what they lost. And I think they're doing well with it.
Yeah, I mean, they can do some damage. I think if they do get in the playoffs, they can do some damage. And now we move into one of Mike's favorite Eastern teams. Them bunch of jerks. The Carolina Hurricanes. And you know, they just basically said, we're not going anywhere. They're sitting in the first wild card spot with 81 points. Mike, your team, you talk.
They're in the perfect position that they're in the exact position that they should be in, and they're in the perfect position because it was a Cinderella story a year ago, and if they're going to do anything with the team that they have, it's going to be another Cinderella run anyway.
Yeah.
So they're right where they should be.
Right. Justina?
The Hurricanes?
The Hurricanes. Oh, that look. You have nothing on the Hurricanes?
I'm surprised. I mean, I think they are as good as they looked last year. I don't think that they were a surprise. I think they ran into a better Bruins team who's completely complete right now.
Yeah.
And should have beat them, but I don't know. I like them. I think. Well, I think look at how amazing. With chemistry, where it showed that it's not all having about the big names.
Yeah.
Look at what the two goalies they did last year, where there were two throwaways, McElhinney and what's his name from Detroit?
Oh, jeez.
Mrazek.
Yeah, Brad. Yeah.
Yeah, they put those two together, and they did a different. You know what they did? Instead of doing the starter and then the backup, they did the two. They did the two equal backups to make one whole.
Yeah.
That not many teams do that anymore, and that worked for what they were working with. And it showed. They showed that it's about chemistry and the pieces you have, not about the big names on paper and free agency.
Yeah.
And Justin Williams. That's what
the Blues did too.
Yeah. Yeah, Justin Williams coming back at the midpoint was kind of a boost to them. The one for Blues fans, Edmonton got traded there, and we got Falk. Boy, I think even though I've read a couple of things where the press isn't happy with Eddie, I think they got the better end of the deal. We should have gotten a little more for Eddie. I think he was just a better player. I'm not 100% happy with that 1-for-1. I know Mike might disagree with me on that one.
I don't totally disagree. I think Falk might. It's hard to when you're comparing the two of them. It's like apples and oranges.
Yeah.
If you want point scoring and puck movement, Falk's your guy. If you want physical, heavy defense, Edmonton's your guy. So you can't really compare. It's two totally different players. I mean, we have size on our team on defense. That's how the Blues are always built. so they look at it like this: let's get a puck mover in there. Let's get a guy that can set the power play up and move the puck around. We can sacrifice one big guy for something that we don't have.
Yeah, I just think for me, Falk has not been that guy that's come in and done. He's supposed to be a power play specialist, and he's not even playing on the power play right now.
Well, don't forget, the Blues have the third-ranked power play in their league, so he must be doing something, you know.
Yeah.
Their penalty kill is what's scared me.
Yeah, I agree. But we can't talk too much about the Blues. We got to wait for that division. So we'll move on to the top three in this division, and there's some separation there. Carolina's got 81 points. The team in third is got 86 points, and that team that does surprise me is the Pittsburgh Penguins. I'm going to let you guys talk about the Penguins since this is your neck of the woods, kind of. Both of them are from the Pennsylvania area. I'll let Justina start on the Penguins.
We get every single Penguins game. We get every single Penguins game.
Yeah,
yeah, we do. Every one of them.
Justina, I'll let you start on the Penguins.
We get on we'll get twice too, and when NBC plays them, we got them on two channels at the exact same time.
I thought the Penguins were done. I really did. And this is beginning of the year. I did a ranking show, and I said they don't make the playoffs this year. I thought that sweep just kind of took them out. I thought Crosby's getting older. Then he has the injury, and he's still third in the team in points. You know, and you've got, who is the guy with the M? Malkin, Evgeny Malkin. You know, he's just coming in there. He's in the 60, 70-point range. You know, they're sitting solidly in third, and they got a chance at, you know, winning that first round if they've got it.
You know what, or if you guys want to go.
You know, go ahead, Justina.
You know what? No, you know what happened to the Penguins, don't you? It's just that everybody just isn't intimidated by them anymore. The Capitals were like we talked about in the last episode, is that they're like the little brother that couldn't beat them, couldn't get over that hump, and once they did, they took that aura off them, that scary, unbeatable aura, and every team in the East or all in that division caught up. And they're not. It's not that they got any worse. It's just that other teams, I think, got better or caught up.
I agree to a point. I think they don't have the goaltending that they thought. Matt Murray has slipped a little bit.
That too. That too.
You know, Matt Murray slipped a little bit, and the other guy that's playing for him,
Tristan Jarry.
Yeah, Jarry. I mean, he's had, you know, he's been peaks and valleys. You know, he's been really good or he's been really bad, really good or really bad.
Yep. They never found that solid backup, and Murray's never been like that year.
Yeah. And so let's move towards the team that's right in your guys' wheelhouse, the other team from Pennsylvania, team in second place, the Philadelphia Flyers. They're sitting at 89 points. They're 1 point behind first. Wow. That's all I got to say. I did not see this team being this good.
I'm going to tell you one word. I'll tell you. I was waiting for you to get to the Flyers. I will tell you one word.
We're there now. You talk.
Scary.
Yeah.
That's a team that you better watch out for and worry about. They are going to be scary.
All right. Elliott's kind of had, I mean, he's not been great, but he's had somewhat of a resurgence there. They've got some goal scoring. They seem to be that team that crazy uncle that you hide away and you forget about until it's too late and he does something to embarrass you. Right? Yep. And I know, and I can't think of her name, the lady does all the funny videos where she changes jerseys all the time. Her name's slipping me now. She's a Flyers fan. And I know you guys know what I'm talking about. She does the one where she little clips and she's changing, you know, how fans are feeling. She had the one where she's taking for Otto and just pouring.
She has the glasses.
The vodka? Yeah. I can't think of her name.
Yeah, she's on Sportsnet, one of them.
Yeah, she's on YouTube mainly, and then NBC picks her up every now and then. Yeah, we'll continue on.
Big frame glasses.
Yeah, so now we'll go to the only team in this whole division that I'm not surprised where they're at all, the Washington Capitals. They are leading the division. They've been at the top of the league almost the entire year. They've got 90 points, 41, 20, and 6, I think it is, or 8. Just, and then, you know, you've got, and not only that, the person leading the team in points isn't who you think it is. It's not Ovechkin. It's a defenseman. And now his name slips me.
Carlson.
Carlton, you know. Ovechkin just hit that 700 mark. They're a contender, plain and simple. My question is going to be more about Ovechkin. Does he hit 898? Does he pass Gretzky? Yes or no?
Does he pass Gretzky?
Yeah.
Yes, he is. I think he's going to.
You think he does, Justina?
Yeah. As long as he stays healthy.
He's got to score 50 goals over 4 years, or he's got to, well, just under 50, depending on where he ends up this year at. I think he's at like 704, 705. You know, and Gretzky had, and I know I should know this number off the top of my head, I think it was 889 or 898.
893.
893, right? 900 is that magic number, I think. You know, because to me, even if he passes him, he won't take the aura off of Gretzky because Gretzky did it so quickly. Mm-hmm. And it's taken him longer. So I think he's got to hit that 900 mark to at least.
With all due respect, though, if he passes him, I won't throw this in there. I may take heat from this from old school hockey fans, but there's no denying that if he passes him, Gretzky did not play against the speed and the level of competition that Ovechkin played against. I'm telling you, the game has changed and it's faster and it's tougher to score today.
Yeah, I mean the scoring is down compared to the Gretzky era, but you take Gretzky out and scoring's almost kind of even. I mean, the Gretzky era was the scoring. You had Gretzky, you had Hull. You know, you were not really seeing 70-goal scorers anymore.
This is for a whole nother day, this topic, because you could look at it from so many different angles.
Right, okay, I agree. So, the Caps. I say that they're, you know, they have a very good chance of being in the finals again. Agreed?
Yeah, they do, but I think they're going to know, but they're always going to have, as long as that team is there with Ovechkin, they got next off, they got a world-class goalie. They have a very solid.
Tom Wilson.
Yeah, they have a talented, solid team. They're going to be good until those players fizzle out, which is not in the near future.
The only thing is Tom Wilson's like Marchand to me. You know, when's he going to do something to get himself suspended? You know, and I think his next suspension is going to be a huge one. Yeah,
but he's the kind of guy you need playoff time because he can put up 20 goals, and then he'll fight and do everything for you. He'll instigate. He'll do you need all that to go all the way in the playoffs. You need that guy to get your head, get physical.
So,
you know,
I'm gonna put you guys on the spot here real quick. I'll start with Justina. In the Atlantic Division, who are your top two teams? Who are the two teams that are going to play in the Atlantic Division in the second round?
Second round?
Second round.
Oh my God, none of this is even predictable because all the teams that people pick as a favorite on paper are the teams that always don't win. Like, look at the Lightning. Oh, everyone's all hot on the Lightning, but then, you know, like we talked about in the last video, they play all flashy, and then they get out physical, or they get out whatever.
Yeah.
So it can literally be, like I said before, if you guys watch, it's whoever the team, their goalie gets hot, their chemistry hits, and it's all on what team gets hot. Every year, that's what it is. It goes on a hot run.
Yeah.
It may not be the best team. Usually the team that wins or gets to the final, one of the two, is not the best team from their conference. They just got on a hot run.
Sometimes, but
I don't know.
I
don't know
think
how to pick
I actually got to say, last year's playoffs, I mean, Boston and St. Louis were legit teams. They you know, you can't sit there and say, well, St. Louis only had this many points and they did all, you know, they won the cup and then they're the number 2 team. They're the number 1 team in their conference right now. I think they're number 2 overall, right? What are they at? 89 or 92 points? And you got Boston sitting at 100 points.
100, yeah.
You know, these are 2 legit teams. So, in my eyes, they were the 2 best teams that came out of that playoffs last year. They were the best 2 teams in their conference.
Yeah, but Boston came together, or not Boston, St. Louis came together, and that chemistry got together, and all that clicked and ignited. That's what it takes.
Yeah.
You know, it's not the best team with the big names or anything. It's that team that comes together as a team, a unit.
Well, the reason I'm asking this question is what I'm going to do after we go through this. I'm going to take who we think is going to win each division and be in the Eastern Conference Finals and the Western Conference Finals for each conference, and I'm going to play them out on my Xbox in NHL 20 and see what happens. So for me, Mike, I'll let you go. What do you think's going to happen in the Atlantic?
All right. It's going to be Boston and for the Metro. It's going to be Boston and Philadelphia.
Boston, Philadelphia. I like that pick. Justina?
I don't know. All I can tell you is that it's going to be a team you don't expect on paper, because the Lightning, they won the President's Trophy. Everybody expected them to at least get to the final for the East, or the Eastern Final, or the Eastern Final. They did not. They got eliminated in the first round. That happens every year. It's definitely going to be a team that we do not expect.
Well, let's just say, for example, that the playoffs.
Boston. It's going to be Boston versus somebody we're not talking about at all in the media.
So we're almost done here. I'm thinking that if the playoffs started right now, Boston would play Columbus. Columbus has got some magic.
That's what I'm saying. Somebody, you don't expect.
I think that in the Atlantic, Tampa Bay is going to come out of there, and I see the Caps coming out of the Metropolitan. Well, guys, I want to thank you for coming on and doing this with me. It was a good talking about each one of these teams and seeing what we know and what we think is going to happen. I mean, I know with this COVID-19, everyone's missing hockey. I'm missing hockey. All I can say is thank you for coming on. Justina, aloha, and thank you. Mike, aloha, and thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Right?
Guy,
Mike and
you
Justina?
you wanted to cut it short so you could brag for the next 10 minutes about how you're in Hawaii and we're in Pennsylvania. So go ahead, you got 5 minutes.
Yeah, I don't even have that much time. Well,
Hey,
I want to take my jersey off. It's hot here right now.
oh,
Yeah, I know. Well, guys, this is Guy, the Hawaii Blues fan, saying aloha, mahalo, and I will see you on the next BlueNote Fan Report when we talk about the Pacific Division. Aloha!
Mahalo.